of the Lord.
On this day when we are recognizing our siblings in Christ across the world in a tiny country in southern Africa, it seemed right that before our presentation that we talk about the core of the message that Jesus brought. And that is, it's a long message, but I invite you to sit back and reflect. What are you hearing? How does this touch your life? I'm reading from Matthew chapter 25, beginning at the 31st verse. When the Son of Man comes in glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from goats. And he will put the sheep at his right hand, at the goats at his left. I've got to pause at this point. Does anybody know the difference between a sheep and a goat? You know? I have the perfect answer, and it comes from a member of this congregation. I said, what is the difference between a sheep and a goat? And Patty said, obviously, you've never had goats. I get it now. I want to be a sheep. I don't want to be a goat. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you? And the king will answer them, truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these members who are of my family, you did it to me. Then he will say to those at his left hand, you that are accursed, depart from me into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not welcome me. Naked, you did not give me clothing. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they also will answer, Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not take care of you? Then he will answer them, truly I tell you, just as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. Friends, this is the good news. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Janet has put together very quickly for you today, and I thank you for putting the time into this. She spent a rugged 2 or 3 days in Loveland, Colorado. That may sound like an oxymoron to you, but she didn't get out much. But what she has learned has been life-changing for her. And she is ready here to share with you just a portion of what she learned. I trust you got a drink of water with a fire hose. That is what it is when you are looking at developing countries. So thank you, and the floor is yours.
If our lovely assistant would work her magic on the slides. Let's see. First of all, when I do a presentation at school, first of all, how long do I have? Good. So a few days from now, when I'm wrapping this up and I look around the room and you guys are either snoring or staring out the window, I will know that I am done. Not yet, Mr. Parker. Not yet. Okay, there is a table over here that has a bunch of flyers and handouts, and if there are multiples of anything, please take one. There's also a blank sheet of paper if you would like me to send you a copy of this slide deck when we're done. Then write your name and your email, I guess, on the paper. There are 3 books over here that, after I'm done reading them, they will be contributed to we have a library? We have a library. One of them is signed by the author who I met, Tom Logan. The items, the beautiful textile items, are one of the agencies that I got to meet. And what we decided, Jenny and I decided, was that I would purchase some of these lovely things. And then in the future, we will do a silent auction, and then the funds will go back to that, to her, it's not an agency, to her project, to support them. I think that's everything that's on the table. I think that's all the preliminaries. So first of all, when we are in a group and we are in Malawi, we say, the speaker starts with Monire Mose. You may all repeat that. Well done. It's a Chichewa greeting. That's the language in Malawi, Chichewa greeting. Good luck with that. Meaning, how is everyone? It's intended for a group. How is everyone? Or hello, everyone. Or if you're in Oklahoma and you speak Okie, you would say, howdy, y'all. Can everyone please say that? Repeat that after me. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, y'all. Well done. And then a designated spokesperson from the group would then respond, meaning, we are fine. They greeted us that way before every speaker, every presentation. Go. All right, does anybody know where Malawi is without looking at the map? You do, good job. Africa, everyone knows where Africa is. It's this, okay. I wouldn't have known where Malawi was until I saw it on the map. Little tiny sliver next to that, Malawi Lake, I believe is what that's called. A small but extraordinarily mighty country. They actually do not really want us to say a developing country or a third world country. We are all developing countries, right? By calling them a developing country, that implies, well, they just aren't there yet. They just are not quite equal to us, right? There's a lot of resentment, a lot of misconceptions. So they are developing just like we are developing. So it's a mindset change. Have you ever walked into a party where you just felt like you were the only one who didn't know anyone? And like the party was halfway through or halfway going? None of you have experienced that except me. Great. Well, that's what it felt like walking into this room with all these people. I knew nothing. I knew nothing except Malawi comes up once in a while here at church. Maybe we take up a collection. Besides that, I really had no idea the format, the organization system of the PCUSA, and who is it that supports Malawi, and how are we doing it. So it was kind of nice to walk in as a blank slate, and I made sure everyone knew that. I know nothing, because the first question everyone asked me was, so what connection do you have with Malawi? I said, our church supports it, that's all I can tell you. And I was like texting all these messages to Jenny, help me answer these questions, I have no clue. But that's okay, I made sure they all knew I had no clue. There were only 1 or 2 other clueless people in the room, so we made friends. I still have so many questions, so many things I just don't know the answers to. So I've been spending a lot of time Googling lately, and you will find yourself doing. I hope you will do the same thing. And I am excited to ask those questions and to find the answers in the future. As soon as Davidson Chifungo, okay, we know where Malawi is, yes, overview. As soon as Davidson Chifungo said the opening prayer before dinner Thursday night, Ray Vandegeesen from the Miami church, Miami, Oklahoma, turned and asked me, did you know you were coming to a revival? And he was so right. Malawians take sharing Jesus very seriously. It's not, it's a totally different mindset than we have. They live their lives in revival mode. We can learn so much from them and how they speak about Jesus and being a Christian. I don't know about you, but especially nowadays, I'm afraid to walk up to someone and say, "Are you a Christian? Do you know Jesus?" Because the first thing I think is that I'm going to turn you off. You're going to think I'm from a different kind of church. They are not afraid of this. If you came Wednesday night, you heard Reverend Tembo saying that his experience here in our country was exactly that. People came up to him and said, "Are you a Christian?" And that was the first discussion they had was, "Yes, I am a Christian." And that's how he felt safe his first night in our country. We need to be, they have an intense urgency to share Christ, and we need to feel that same urgency because some people's days are numbered, right? We need to be more fearless in sharing Christ. The theme of the retreat was partnership, and it was emphasized over and over and over again. Partnership, ownership, by sharing. We go to Malawi to share, or we send resources. We share our time, our resources. We are supporting them by sharing our resources, but they own the projects. So if we send materials or money to Malawi, none of these agencies or projects, none of the churches send money to Malawi and say, "Here, this is to be used for blah, blah, blah." I mean, there are some ways to do that. But what practice we are supposed to use is we ask the project or the church or the school, "What is it you need?" And then we send them what they need, or we send them the funds to get what they need. But it's in their hands. They take ownership of it that way. It is not us being the saviors of Malawi. It is us supporting them and supporting Christ. So again, I challenge you to acquire that mindset that we are not going over there. I don't even want to say we're going over there as missionaries, because they're the missionaries, really. We are going over there to support Christ's work through them. The successes for all of these projects and schools and community services comes from the strength, skills, ingenuity, and energy of the Malawians, who make full use of the resources we bring. Another theme that seemed to run throughout the whole conference was the focus on helping women and girls continue their education. Lack of resources, funds required to continue past 8th grade. If education is free through the 8th grade, then they have to pay. Lots and lots, very, very high dropout rate, very small percentage actually continue past the 8th grade. And many, many girls, because of lack of supplies while they're on their period, their monthly period, they stay home, then they often drop out. Early teen marriages and teen pregnancies, all of these things contribute. And that was a recurring theme. So it's not something that just one agency is dealing with. They are all trying to focus on women and girls. Next. All right, I never met an ambassador before. Raise your hand if you've met an ambassador. What? Really? That's amazing. Mm-hmm. He was the speaker at the. That's wonderful. And it showed again, like when they were doing this international, this group for future leaders. He goes, it's not just leaders of your country; it's a leader right. Of all countries. And he goes, our future is through all of you. Awesome. So she went to through high school. She went to a leadership conference or something in Florida. Did you say? Atlanta, Georgia, and they got to meet leaders from lots of different countries. So, I mean, that's pretty rare. I don't think most of us. This is Her Excellency Justice Esme Chombo, the ambassador of the Republic of Malawi in Washington. This was her first. She has not been ambassador for very long, months, I think. She came all the way from Washington to go to this conference, and she was sold. She said, I will be coming to every single one of these in the future. And it's been 6 years, I think, since COVID, since they've had this conference, it will be a yearly thing now, and I encourage many of us to come. Eastern Oklahoma Presbytery sent 4 representatives. I think we were the only presbytery that sent 4 representatives. They know us. They know our support. They cherish our support. So it was, it was pretty significant. It kind of blew me away that they knew us and that they were so appreciative. She is, here are some of the comments or the information. She's a powerful speaker, a strong supporter of Malawi. She said, this is a quote, "The Lord doesn't need religion. Religion kills. We need to allow Christ to change us." She commented on the needs of provisions and supplies for girls, more teen pregnancies, dropping out, male-female mindsets and roles need to change in Malawi. There are 10,000 Malawians in the USA. Many of them are in Houston or South Bend, Indiana. I had no idea. And many of them were there at the conference. We need to find a way for them to help from here. Make it easier for them to help from here. There is a lot of corruption in Malawi. We wonder why, what makes a country, an African country that we have supported for so long, what makes them still a poor country? They have resources. Those, due to government corruption, those resources are either stolen or all of the benefit of the resources goes to other countries or rich people. We know about corruption. They have minerals there. They have discovered minerals that are being used in EVs, in electric vehicles. They have yet to see the benefit of mining those minerals because of corruption. So when we judge the poverty level of a country, there are so many other factors to consider. Another issue that I really didn't realize was since Obama, this is from her experience, since Obama, USA has made it very difficult from Malawi to get assistance because they have to sign the LGBTQ agreement, saying that they will not bias on that issue. And they absolutely can't sign that. If you are familiar with most of the African countries, feel very strongly. So what do? They go to China. China does not have the requirements that United States has. They get what they want from China. China does not require, if they get funds from China, they don't have to send documentation of how those funds are being spent. So it's a sad thing that our country cannot support them the way they need to be supported, and they go to other communist countries because it's easier. Just an observation, something where the system might need to change, but it's an issue that also contributes to the poverty and the culture. What most countries consider child labor. They are being judged on having child labor. It's a way of life for mothers to bring their children to work with them in the fields. The mother comes to work in the fields. Her 4 children, young children, straggle along, and they are pulling weeds. They are imitating what mom does. They are helping her work in the fields. It is their lifestyle. It's their culture. It is not what they consider child labor. Another way we judge them. Production and the equipment that they need for production of their resources is also lacking. Avocados are going to waste. Avocados are very, very valuable. And they grow them like crazy in Malawi. They lie around rotting because they don't have canning or bottling facilities. They don't have a way to get them out of the country. Now that the United States has we've given them a 15% tariff. It's a poor country. They have limited resources anyway, and we are taxing them and tariffing, is that a word? Tariffing them, and it hurts them terribly. So resources that cannot be accessed or cannot be used, taken advantage of. They need a lot of equipment and hospital and farming equipment. She said there are hospitals all over our country that are being closed down and equipment is trashed, thrown away. Same with farming equipment. We replace things here that they would cherish. So a way to get these resources to them. Anytime we send things, she accentuated, we have to send the right paperwork with it so it's not taxed or excise taxed or tariffed. So she gave us all of her contact information. We have to make sure we send any supplies through the right resources so that they can take full advantage of it and not be penalized. Okay, so Malawi Mission Network, a partnership. This was Frank Dimlock from the PCUSA Mission. He works as Africa Health Consultant. CCAP, who knows what CCAP is? Pastor Lady, I'm kind of counting on you knowing what this means.
Church of Central Africa Presbyterian.
Good job, you passed the test. He spoke about all the health care in Malawi, and I'm just going to read the slide because I put the, huh? I know. Oh, yes, Church of Central Africa Presbyterian, CCAP, you'll see it a lot, and it's on our banner here. Guardians, when Malawians go into the hospital, there are not enough nurses, not enough health staff at all. So they are required to take a family member with them who stays there in their hospital room with them, much as some of us do anyway with our loved ones. But they are required to feed and health care for their loved one in the hospital, change their sheets, do everything that we would think that a health aide or nurse would do. They have a family member who is required to be in the hospital to help them with that. I thought that was interesting, but, you know, kind of comforting in a way. Community health evangelism through PCUSA, that's something that PCUSA is a big part of providing. Malaria vaccines are being tested in Malawi, and they are 83% effective. But just be watching for that because that's huge. If they can get rid of malaria in lots and lots of these countries, that would be a big solution. There are 5 CCAP hospitals, 3 in the Livingstonia Synod, which is the north, which is where Reverend Tembo comes from. The other 2 synods each have 1 hospital each, and the hospitals also include clinics. Life expectancy, I put the U.S. Comparisons here just so that you can, I just pulled a few statistics. Life expectancy in Malawi is 67.4. USA right now is 78.39. Infant maternal mortality and HIV rates are all improving. I didn't put the actual statistics in there. Teen marriages, 38% of women are marrying under 18 years old. And the WHO rank of health systems is, they are ranked at 185 out of 190. Education, primary school completion rate is 47%. That goes through 8th grade. Attendance rate for secondary is 17 to 28%, depending on whether you're early or late secondary. Pretty darn low, right? Expected years of schooling is 10 or roughly 10 years. In the US, we get 16 or 17 years of education. That includes early childhood. Households with electricity, 12.6. Human index, human development index, 173 out of 192. Really low. The USA is at 17 out of 193, a different year of income per capita, 320. Okay, yes. Veritas College, David Chifungo spoke. PCUSA. I have all of these acronyms. PCI is Presbyterian Church of Ireland. These are all the different religions that have a foothold in Malawi. PCA, Presbyterian Church of America. WCC, World Council of Churches. AEA, African Evangelical Alliance, WEA, World Evangelical Alliance. Okay, they have strong accountability for membership and participation. Do you want someone, your elder, to come knock on your door when you have missed your church service? How would you feel? A little intimidated? Or would you feel loved and cared for? It's a different culture, isn't it? I mean, we We want the freedom to say, you know what, I'm sleepy, or I'm sick today, or I've got relatives in town, I'm not going to go to church. You'd have somebody from your church knocking on your door. They know where they all live. Because of this accountability, attendance is almost mandatory. Even, now I kind of wanted to comment on this, but I didn't put it in there. Young girls who get pregnant before, while they're still in their teens, have a 3-month, it used to be a discipline, 3 months of discipline. Now they call it counseling. But they are not allowed to come to church for 3 months, and then they have to stand in front of the congregation and admit their sin and apologize and ask for forgiveness, whatever. And I said, okay, do you do this for the boys, the men, who there was no comment? So again, cultural differences there. American churches are closing in spite of lots of funds. Their churches, they have 5 synods, 2.8 million members in Malawi, 3.1 million in what they call Zim and Zam, Zimbabwe and Zambia. PCUSA, over 1 million in our country. Look at those numbers. A tiny country. And they have 2.8 million Presbyterian members. They are still growing really fast. It's not unusual for one of their small churches to have 7,000 members. And they attend. Strong accountability system. Okay, and I'm going to speed through these because I hit 11:20 is when we're turning him on, right? All right, Farming God's Way. Where are we? There are links to some of these, so if you do get the slides, then go ahead and click on the links. Some of these don't have links. Farming God's Way is a new method of farming that is using not the methods that the missionaries taught them, but the methods that work according to their observations and science. And when they look at a forest, that's God's way of farming. And the way missionaries taught them wasn't working. So they have found a way to farm with organic materials, less interference in the process. Corn is growing 3 times the height. Growing a Greener Future and Sound Soil Salvation are all Faith Musa's idea and his program. And there is a link to his program, and it's, anyway, he is a singer-songwriter, amazing. If you go to Apple Music, you can download some of his music. He performed for us, so you're going to see a video of his performances, but making tremendous strides in agriculture. Education and scholarship. Americans have money, but Africans have life. ECO accounts, have you heard of those? Anyone heard of those? Those are a way that we can send funds and designate them to a specific cause. So if you go to, it's called Extra Commitment Opportunity Accounts, and it's through PCUSA. So I already looked that up, and there is a way to designate to a specific person or one of the agencies or projects. Okay, next, this was a breakout session on PCU, yeah, the World Mission one, you just have to go to the link because I missed that one. The hotel was trying to kick me out, so I had to run to the hotel. So I missed part of that. Phyllis Wiesman is a powerhouse from Indiana. She has started the Malawi Matters, and the focus is on keeping girls in school. HIV, AIDS education, sanitary supplies. She has a whole workshop we can do if the women of the church or the men would like to help create some of those sanitary supplies to send. I have her contact information, and that's a wonderful project to do that's easy to do and easy to support. I met Holly Pettit. She's the one who started Africa Bags. It gives employment, a source of income to women. She was 18 when she got the idea for this, and she had to buy treadle sewing machines from all over the country, the old ones, because they had no electricity, no power, and they produced these amazing things. The bags, and the apron and all these things, we were probably going to do a silent auction and send the money back to them. But we really connected. She's an amazing person that created something out of nothing. All right, these are just lists. If I send it to you, they will all have a link, okay? But these are all the tables and all the speakers. Malawi Matters, Kusiwira Community Center. God didn't offer Moses a bunch of new tools or gizmos. He asked Moses, "What do you have in your hand?" Then he used the staff of Moses to work his miracles. Funds help, but they don't always have the materials, equipment, supplies available to purchase. So we can send funds, or we can go in person. Let's see, next. This is the author of the book, When You Pray, Move Your Feet, is an African proverb that says a lot. I'll be there. We have given money to them, I think. Go to the last slide. Let's show the little 2-minute. Click on that little link. This is worship music and that we listened to. We have just enough time to appreciate the music from the conference. Scroll down and click on the next little slide. Yeah, that little one down there. The Mountain View Church had their bell choir playing. Click on it, get it started. Okay, well, maybe we'll watch this after he's done. Huh? Yeah, it's just buffering. So, what are our next steps? We'll just watch that later sometime. Our next steps. We can send supplies. Go back to the slideshow if you don't mind to, and go back one screen. We are going to be working with EOP. The Miami church is going to be sending people, the Claremore church, and us, and hopefully other churches. I'm hoping we can do this in 2026, but Ray said it may take up to 2 years for us to plan. I'm not sure how to do that. That was my biggest question, was how do you decide where you're going to work, what church you're going to go to? But that is one of our next steps. If you go to some of these websites, like I have a heart for this Africa Bags. There is a deaf school that's run through the Marian Mission that we gave them money for water, help them with their wells. You will find your heart kind of buzzing over one of these projects, outreaches, whatever. Support them. Go online. You can donate money. There are some that are $30 sponsor a child for the whole year. You will find that you are connected. You have a connection or an interest in one of those things. Again, that's God talking to your heart. That is one of the ways that we're going to be supporting them. We have lots and lots of work to do, lots of opportunities to do this work. So, when you pray a lot, but when you pray, move your feet. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You are welcome.